Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully this is working now. I don't know what happened, but I just restarted my computer, so I hope that this works. So, first of all, this is my moving forward video. I will have my assistant upload the thumbnail and everything after I'm done here, but there's a few things that I want to make an announcements about before getting into the moving forward word, and it actually all kind of ties together. So first of all, if you've been following my channel, okay, yay, it's working. Thank you guys so much for your patience. If you've been following my channel or if you've been following me on any of my social media platforms, you'll know that at the beginning or earlier in this year, I got engaged, and I just want to announce that we canceled the engagement. And I ask that if you are a person of prayer, that you pray for Jason. Um, that being said, I'm restructuring. I was already in the process. I am restructuring my coaching business, and so I need some time off to be able to focus on that. I'm going to focus on myself for the rest of the year. And so I'm not going to be doing any YouTube videos during the month of December. I will be back sometime after the first of the year. I already have YouTube videos lined up for every Friday for the rest of this month, for the rest of November, but I will not be doing YouTube videos in December or in January. I might do some lives here and there, and I have some pre-recorded interviews that are going to be coming out, so definitely still stay tuned in. But just so you know, the Friday ones are going to be paused for a while. And by the way, today I'm still releasing a video later on, a pre-recorded one, so you can check that out. And so I just wanted to let you know I'm just going to take a break from YouTube for a little bit, focus on my coaching. I have coaches underneath me that I want to spend time with, and I want to restructure my business and be focused on that. And I think that ultimately that will help the quality of my YouTube videos. So when I come back, it'll be even more useful to y'all. So moving forward, I love this word, and I actually want to share some things that I have come across in my own life even recently that I think can help you move forward. You know, we're coming up on the holiday season, and if you didn't see my live that I did yesterday with Elizabeth Johnston, you should go check that out because she has so much wisdom about dealing with narcissists during the holidays, and I think that that will be very helpful to y'all. But when we this time of year, a lot of people will already start thinking about the new year and what they want for their life moving into the new year, how they want their life to be different from this year, you know, reflecting on the positives and the negatives, right? The things that could be improved upon. And that's amazing. I think one of the things that we kind of overlook, though, is ways in which we could have impacted the trajectory of whatever it is that we're doing. And so sometimes it can feel like we're stuck. And I actually felt like this a couple weeks ago. You know, I just felt like things were not working the way that I had envisioned them, the way that I had even planned for them to be working. And at that point, we need to like reassess what we're doing, right? And so I'm talking about my business. So I started going through the things that I know I do, the things that I know I'm consistent in, you know, what could I have possibly done different? What could I be doing different? How can things be moved around to make this more efficient, more proficient, and more useful to me, my coaches, and then my clients, and then my coaches' clients. And believe it or not, sometimes the best thing for us to do to move forward is to rest. When we get into this hyper focused, hyper vigilant, like going and doing mode, um, we uh, we Sorry, I don't know how to shut off notifications on here, and I don't even know how I have messages on this computer because it shouldn't be connected to any phone number. I don't even have a Mac or an Apple phone, but that's weird. Anyway, um, sorry about that. I think that one of the best things that we can do is truly rest. And how do I turn this off? That is so annoying. Okay, Apple people, how do you turn off notifications on your Apple computer so that I don't get interrupted? Um, put it in the comments so I know how to use it. One of the things that we can do is to just rest. Sometimes when we get in the mode of doing, we actually shut off our creative ability. You know, when we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, our body actually engages our sympathetic nervous system. And this makes it really, this makes it this causes a bunch of chain reactions. One of the things that it does is push blood vital, uh, into only the vital organs. It takes it away from your extremities, and it puts you on this kind of autopilot. You're doing what you were created to do, but you're not thinking about it consciously, right? And this is kind of what happens to us when we get into these modes of like, I need to have this accomplished. This is my vision. This is how I'm going to see it happen, and all that kind of stuff. When we start doing that, we actually shut off the creative parts of ourselves. And this makes it impossible for us to receive new information, to think about things from another perspective, because we're just so hyper focused on getting this one thing done. And honestly, I've seen this a lot with my clients. I actually saw this with myself with my own custody situation, which I went through many years ago. The first time I saw that I was so focused on the goal, I wasn't paying attention to the other possibilities that were there. And this is something that I just want to share with you, is that when we actually get into a place of rest, this is when the bigger picture can become available to us. When we get very hyper focused, we can't see anything besides our goal. And while that's really a great trait to have, if we aren't on the right path to reach that goal, this can be a huge setback for us. And we end up wasting time and energy that we didn't need to put forth that way. So I just share this to say, sometimes if you're doing, and it doesn't seem like you're having the outcome that you want, get into a place of rest. In fact, take time off, which is exactly what I'm going to do with my YouTube channel. I like doing my YouTube channel. I love being able to put out videos and to connect with you guys during my lives and reading your comments. I really enjoy doing that. But I know that whatever I put out is what people are going to get. And unless this is of value to me and to you, it doesn't make it, I shouldn't be doing it. And so I need to just take a break with my YouTube channel. I wonder what spaces in your own life maybe you could allow new possibilities, new creative vision into your life if you would take a time out. You know, this doesn't mean quitting. This just means taking a break and getting into a place of rest and approaching the situation, the obstacle or whatever it is that you're facing with a new perspective, from a fresh start, instead of just like pushing through. Sometimes we do need to push through, but I really sense, especially like this time of year, there's so much stuff for us to do. There's so much movement, and you know, the kids are in all of the things, and we have to fly over here to see our families and things like that. We miss the reason why we're doing all of that. Why are we doing all of those things? It's so that we can connect and make memories with people. But if we're not able to just calm our inner world, our outer world will constantly be in this disorder, and we're wondering why we keep doing these things, and yet there's no progress made, right? Why do I keep showing up for time with this person, but our relationship doesn't seem to develop? Why do I keep investing time into into my work, but I seem to never get a raise and things like that. And so if we approach it from a place of rest, we actually can take on a completely new perspective than what we thought about the problem or the situation in the beginning. And it really allows us to come up with more creative ideas, and ways to approach those things. I think that a lot of moving forward too is not digging up the things that we assume aren't working because they're not working in the time that we want them to work in. If we plant a tree, and it's like a little one, we can see that it's little, but if we keep looking at it, like it's not growing, it's not doing anything, why isn't it making fruit? We can get frustrated, but we wouldn't dig that thing up and be like, it's dead, it's not going to ever make fruit. We can see that it's living. And we do this a lot with our dreams, and I see this a lot too with my clients who are tired of the court process, which I totally understand. It's draining and it should not take that long. Like, this should not be a very long thing for people to get their lives together, for people to move forward with their futures, and especially for kids and the stress and all of that stuff. I understand that. But the system, once you're in it, you're in it. And that's a hard thing for people to wrap their head around, right? Like, I want this to happen at my pace. We sometimes need to just accept that this is a long-term investment. This is not something that's happening overnight, because you don't want the results to be taken from you overnight either. This is something that's going to take a while for you to water and give it sunshine and all the things that it needs in order to see fruit from it. And that's a hard part of family court, is that it's a long process. But just because it's a long process doesn't mean that something good isn't going to come from it. And it doesn't mean that something isn't in the process of starting to make fruit that you'll be able to enjoy. So I think rest helps us from frantically looking for ways to get the blocks unblocked. So if we were like trying to find out why this thing isn't working, what is going on here, what's the thing that's holding up the progress, and we're pulling up all of these little baby trees that we planted when we were in a place of rest and we had a bunch of creative ideas flowing, and we planted all those trees, but now they're not moving fast enough. And so now we're frantic about it. And it's like, okay, I'll just pull all of those up. You see what I'm trying to say is that the things that you were doing doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It means that that thing takes time. And sometimes being in a place of rest and trusting that the thing that you are doing is the right thing, and that eventually it will make fruit. Eventually you will see the rewards of your labor, so to speak. And this is something that's so important this time of year to remember, right? Because what you don't want to do is have 10 months of the year where you are working on your inner world and you're calm and you're setting boundaries and you're learning how to engage with people who want to test those boundaries, and you've been really strategic in the way that you show up for events or you show up for gatherings and things like that. And then the last 2 months of the year, you show up and because of the outside pressure of everything that's going on with the holidays and needing to get the kids to these events and having all of these gatherings, you start letting go of all of that progress that you made, right? You stop setting boundaries. And again, boundaries are always for yourself first. You start letting go of the things that you had originally set your eye on. When I approach the holidays from a place of rest, and especially when I know that I need to engage with people who may try my patience or who don't have the same worldview as I do, or whatever the situation is, or I have to do more exchanges with the narcissist, right? With the kids and things like that. But when I approach it from a place of rest, I'm able to allow the systems that I spent the last 10 months or longer putting into my life work for me, right? Just because you don't see those little trees growing doesn't mean they're not growing. It means that they're doing the work that you put in the work of making sure that they had the atmosphere that they needed to grow in. And now it's your job to trust the system, trust the process. And it's the same thing when we go into these next few weeks with the holidays, that we trust the systems that were in place. So just because the narcissist is doing something that you don't like, just because somebody is trying your patience, or you're losing your patience with, with your family or your kids, or you're finding yourself feeling more frustrated or whatever, doesn't mean that those systems need to get uprooted. Sometimes it means that you need to rest and trust that those are the right systems, and you need to come back into alignment with why you started down that road in the first place. I have seen this before with my clients, is that these next 2 months, 3 months, really try really try people's resolve about what they're committed to, as far as their boundaries with a narcissist, going forward with peace with a narcissist. Feeling joy in the next few months too can be very difficult, especially if the holidays aren't looking exactly like what you thought that they would be looking like, but when you started the year out. So just because you're not seeing it this year doesn't mean you won't see it next year. And honestly, I have so many clients who have had that be their testimony. For 2 or 3 years, their holidays didn't look like how they wanted them to look. But this year, they do look like how they wanted them to look. And that's because they trusted the process that was in place. They trusted the systems that they had already established, and they didn't allow the external pressure of the holidays and the things that accompany the holidays, the movement and the extra things that you have to go do, to get in the way of them being resolved to be committed to that, regardless of what the outside circumstances look like. So I just want to encourage you guys, as you move forward into the next 3 months, try to get into a place of rest. Really remember how you started the year out, what things you were committed to for yourself, your own personal goals, your own personal growth, things that you had done, and rely on those, because the next 3 months are going to be a little bit, there's going to be more external pressure than maybe the past 10 months, but that doesn't mean that you need to go uproot all of the work that you've already been doing. So I hope that helps you guys as you move forward. Like I said, just to recap, in case you missed the first part of this live, I'm going to take a break from my YouTube channel for a little bit. I have videos that I've already pre-recorded for the rest of this month, and I have some interviews that I pre-recorded that will be coming out in December as well. And then sometime in January, I'll be back to with regular programming, but I'm just going to take some time off myself. So you guys, if I don't see you guys again before the end of this year live, then have a great Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And I pray that the work that you've been able to do the last 10 months is carried through to the rest of this year. And I will see you guys soon.